explains it in human terms.
Yeah.
It's not technical. It's not over your head. It's not stupid. It's just a nice balance.
Okay, all set when we get
Okay. So Simon, we talk again. Have you had a good time?
Yeah, look, it's been great to be here. It's lovely, and we've had sun, rain, and sun again, so it's not been brutal, you know.
And tell me, just for the camera, just who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name's Simon Cocking, and I'm the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Irish Tech News and CryptoCoin.news. And from that's led to also becoming an advisor for people launching ICOs.
And obviously you've gone through, as you say, you've advised a lot of people. I get the sense from our own experience, creating content and strategy, digital strategies and things for ICOs. I get the sense that it's leveling out a little bit in terms of the quality of ideas and there was a bit of what I'm saying is there was a bit of a gold rush.
Yeah.
Of cheap and nasty ideas that.
If you had an envelope, back of an envelope and a white paper, you could raise 30 million 12 months ago, would be the thing that they lament to me, and you can't do that anymore. But that's actually a good thing, you know.
And what are you finding now? Are you finding ideas of more substance?
Yeah, look, it's interesting because, like you say, things did really well 12 to 15 months ago. From January to June, in those first 6 months, more money was raised than had ever been raised in a previous calendar year. So obviously that would suggest things are booming. Then it kind of fell off the edge on July and August, and the market got scared. Investors got nervous. Maybe they were on holiday. Maybe it wasn't the hip hot thing that it was, and therefore you had an interesting thing where still cumulatively it's the best year ever, but the last 2 months, well, the 2 months that we're talking about, way low. So on one hand, I was thinking, do I need to future-proof what I do? Do I need to do different things? And yet, actually, in September, the last month, I'm still getting 3 to 5 people emailing me a day saying, we're thinking of doing an ICO. So therefore, to make a strong statement to say it's gone, I don't think it's right. To say that the market is maturing and growing up, I think is perhaps where we are.
I agree. And actually, your skills and your track record and your advice set can actually mature also, because you can say, look, everyone's done a white paper with the WordPress template website with the 2-minute explainer video made for $500. How are you going to stand out there?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is the nice thing. Wearing the editorial hat, you toggle over to that side and say, if you were pitching this to me, I don't get this sucks, I've seen better. So you can put it back to them. And the thing is, everyone loves their baby, but they don't necessarily realize that they're not explaining to anyone else. And so I was a software engineer for a while, and I was a bad one, and I worked with really good ones. But the trouble is sometimes if other people didn't get what they'd done, then they felt other people were stupid, rather than that they had worked out how to effectively communicate. And therefore, this still is relevant to ICOs. You might have a great team, you might have a great product, but if you can't articulate that, then you are your own worst enemy as well, you know.
And I mean, look, I think it's a good situation that's maturing, because actually we're going back to the basic fundamentals of what is blockchain good for. It's an empowering mechanism. It's an empowering tool for the internet to give what is really an internet, which is, you could argue, is a bit Millennium Falcon, hanging together with string and chewing. Is blockchain the next iteration of the internet? Is it as big as that? Or is it a different beast?
Look, I mean, potentially it is a transformational technology, because you can build on it and you can redress the issues of when things got over-centralized. Like its founding concept, if you look, Bitcoin in theory, Bitcoin is almost a proof of concept rather than particularly a thing in itself. But it showed that we can have a decentralized way to do things. We can deal with trust issues in ways that the blockchain helps to solve. I want to deal with people in Africa, but how can I check that they're the people I think they are? Blockchain enables us to do this, and therefore, you know, the internet, email meant we could communicate with them. Blockchain means that we can do business with them in a way that we can trust people, even though we haven't met them before. And the Silk Road was a fantastically interesting experiment, because it was a place where criminals had to create trustworthiness. that people chose which criminals to deal with based upon reputation ratings, which is both paradoxical but actually very logical, because if you're a criminal, you'd normally ripped off by another criminal, so you want the one with the best record. And obviously that seems absurd, but if you look at Amazon and buyers and sellers records, that principle is something that's useful for all of us.
Yes, it's funny that pornography and criminality often lead the technical charts.
Yeah, but maybe that's logical. Like, I think humans are both good and bad. So the technology is neutral. Humans are going to find good and devious things to do with it. And you could say maybe one way to look at pornography is pornography is the translation of uploading large amounts of images. What the actual content is, obviously we move into that, but then like photography 150 years ago, the first things it was for nudes. So maybe we're still the same people, even though we think we've evolved.
And funny enough, on that track, look, this is just enabling better ways to do the same things that humans do, right?
Yeah, exactly there. This is the thing. I think the techies get excited about it, but once it goes to a wider mainstream adoption, people want smooth, seamless. They want to go through the day. In theory, the physical money is probably going to become irrelevant if we can get up in the morning, go to the gym, do what we need to do, go through the day, have lunch, have coffee, get the bus home. And if we don't need to physically take money out of our pocket anymore because we're using, like the Oyster card. The Oyster card in London achieved a lot of things that, it went to cashless. People said it wouldn't work, but it did. And you can see that people have adapted to it and it just works. And therefore, no one's really talking about the technology behind it. They're just talking about the speed of throughflow of people going through the gates. It gets people through faster, and they're talking about the next evolution is ones that scan you from 5 meters away. And as a user, we just want it to be safer and faster. And I think blockchain can do that, is offering that. And as it matures, the best solutions will work for us. And we won't really talk about blockchain. We'll just talk about this cool thing that I did that was better than my previous experience.
Well, exactly. I always talk to my guys when we're building sort of media tech or creative tech platforms. If you can see the wires, it's not working, right?
Yeah.
You're empowering life. You're not empowering technology. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Technology's not the point. So, on that basis, let's drift on to BioLife. Is BioLife different in that it's going to make a proper deep-rooted impact in the health sector globally? Is it also different in that it's enabling a set of very simple ideas very effectively on a global scale? And then third prong of that question is, does that future-proof BioLife? So it can release iterations of value?
I think if we work backwards, I think it doesn't future-proof it, because in all these things that you build, you have to have adoption and usage. Now, the fact that we're physically here in a building that they are due to physically use, and that we're talking about Chinese, Swiss and UK, those are a lot of real-world hardware attributes that we're not just talking about a white paper. We're talking about they've identified a building, they've got the team, they've got the stuff. So those are all things that help to future-proof. But at the same time, if Facebook overtook MySpace, so therefore the only way you could future-proof is if you could guarantee that people will continue to use it in the future. And I don't think we can guarantee that. So I think you have to build value, which creates loyalty. So you have to make it, like we said about not seeing the wires. I think if it's a seamless experience and also the founder story is he did it because his father was sick and he couldn't find the right care for his father. If that is a solution that works for other people, then other people will use it. And I guess so it shows that if you want to future-proof things, you have to focus back on human skills and be good, reliable, and deliver on what you say you're going to. And people are as fickle, but perhaps as reliable as they'll stay with you if you deliver, and if you don't deliver, then they won't.
In terms of the event then, what's been the highlight of your day?
Yeah, so I guess as we were talking, with someone like Don Tapscott, on one hand the internet enables us to watch them online and watch their TEDx, but then to put us all in a room with 50 to 100 people and have a bit longer and have that discussion teased out a bit more, that's great. That's, and I think it's great if you come to things like this open to be educated and still to learn, so that you're here to hear what other people have to say. So that's definitely a highlight,
And the event is I was going to say tailing off. It's not tailing off. It's crescendoing, if that's a word.
Building.
With a ceremony in in typical Chinese fashion, which probably we've both been party to over there. That's going to be one send off for BioLife, isn't it? And a good launch pad.
Yeah, look, so I think it's that thing. You can achieve a lot online, and actually sometimes it's more efficient to work with people online. But every now and then, I think putting people in a room energizes, connects, inspires. So therefore, I think it's a smart play to do, and all the more so that this is where they're going to do it. So therefore, it's not just an abstract location. You know, it's a place that's been chosen for a reason. And I think therefore then everyone who goes away knows exactly where the place is in Scotland, because you put the bums on the seats and had them here. So I think that's a good thing. And then we're talking about the Chinese way. Well, the guys have just given me this Chinese drawing of a shrimp, and it's in a beautiful box, and it's lovely, and that's the things that they just do things very differently, and so that's kind of beautiful, and that'll be a fun thing to take home too.
I was going to say, I mean, actually, there is a fantastic balance in that Chinese culture as well, isn't there? At the very, very edge of everything that's innovative, but actually deep rooted. I mean, we think we're deep rooted here, but actually deep rooted in centuries and millennia of art, creativity, culture.
Yeah, look, I mean, I was reading one thing that was saying possibly you could say that in 19 of the last 20 centuries, China was probably actually the global superpower, because there were things they had, the size of the trade empire they had, the things they developed, the things they invented. Then they went into isolation a couple of centuries ago. But before that, they were doing things on a scale, that we had the Middle Ages and the Black Plague, whereas they had a paper and writing and fireworks and things like that. And so it's an interesting one. So we get sent a lot of books to review about China and how China is funding Africa's development and the Belt and Braces. And so I think it's important for us in the West to remember that maybe we shouldn't be so Western-centric sometimes.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
Cool, great, okay, good,
Thank you
thanks.
You enjoy it?
Yes.